Hello everyone, Visual Pony here. Usually we don't do things like this, but this is a website that both Midnight and I use regularly. You might have seen Midnight stream a lot of games over on her Twitch channel over the last year, and you might wonder how we were able to get all of those. Well, look no further, because the answer is right here. The good folks over at Kinguin are currently clearing some of their stock and have sent us an affiliate link through which you can kill two birds with one stone. You can get amazing games at good prices, while also supporting the channel, since we get a cut of everything that you purchase with our link, which you can find in the description down below, by the way. But better be quick, their clearance sale is only running from the 14th to the 21st of April. So while you're listening to this amazing story, why not hop over there and have a look at what games they have on sale right now. And now, enjoy the video and your potentially new games.
Roar!
Ew.
Hello and welcome to Pony&Wolf Productions. I am Midnight and today we shall be reading The Owl Critic, written by Art Inspired. As always, these are our amazing Patreons. Link is in the description if you wish to join. And our kitty cats continually thank you. Even though one is glaring at me right now. Differently from normal though, it's Bats rather than Luna. I think I woke her from her nap. Oops. Now, shall we get to it? Twilight was downstairs, letting Spike take a breather. It had been a long day of the same usual work, spell practices and house cleaning, and he preferred to be left out of that tedious labour. It was getting late in the day, and as for Aloysius, he was with Twilight on his stand, remaining amazingly still. He could be sleeping, Twilight mumbled to herself. She walked up to him politely, and then proceeded to ask him forwardly, "Hey, Aloysius, are you awake?" The bird still remained that way, calm and perfectly quiet. For a split second, however, he ruffled some of his loose feathers, only to return to his quiet slumber. But not before asking, quickly, "Huh?" Twilight giggled and answered, "You!" She soon realized what she was doing, which happened to be organizing books as always. There was little wonder as to why her pet bird snoozed so much near the end of the day, all the time. That was usually when Twilight decided it best to organize her books for the last time, after reading enough to satisfy her for the night. The consistent dull tones of all those books being taken, shuffled across probably dusty surfaces, and then put back safely in a new spot must have sounded like a ocean soothing waves to him, or something along those lines, because whenever she got to it, he'd hit it and quit it. Though lazy as he was, he still helped when he'd be up, awake and about. Twilight looked at the stairs to see if she could hear anything, but only got silence as feedback. Her well-worked dragon might have fallen asleep, but that would be alright. Twilight really couldn't think of anything else she needed from him. Not even outside the house. He didn't need to go in the sewer, or make any more lists for her like he always does around this time. So she supposed it wouldn't hurt him too much to let him go to bed early for a change. Speaking of sleep, she was getting pretty tired too. Maybe a small nap on the couch wasn't a bad idea after all. It looked far too inviting to resist anyway. Of course, just as she was about to lay down, the front door knocked, triggering an immediate "Ugh" from her. She quickly went off to see who it was, but instead of it being one of her friends, or some pony she knew, around town like she expected it to be, it was just some grey-mared, brown-coated gentle colt. He was dressed up in a green overcoat, his facial features complete, with a flashy mustache and a monocle on one of his squinting eyes. Twilight spoke loudly while checking his torso through the peeper. What? We aren't actually a library. He spoke with a hint of British in his voice, saying, I've come seeking something else. You're not my priority. The door suddenly opened, and he forced his way in, like the landlord or something, ready to evict Twilight and her acquaintances right there and then, and for no reason given either. Hey! Twilight yelled as she was pushed out of the way. Where is it? Aha! There it is! The skinny little creep trotted up to Owlicious in a stalking manner, inspected him, and then mumbled something about being just as he'd heard while eavesdropping on a pair of mares conversing around this location. Finally, Twilight was brought up to demand to know, Why are you in my house? And furthermore, what do you want with my owl? He looked sharply at her and then went off. I'm heavily stuffed, Twilight remarked. You don't look it. I am chief of the Stuffed Owl District, and I act as an official critic. This stuffed owl had been talk of the town since I arrived here. I first heard of it while on my way to the National Manhattan Owl Convention, when I quickly picked up on the trail. I questioned complete strangers for weeks until I found my way here. Now I'm sorry I ever made a long trip. For your bird is a disgrace. What? Twilight asked, which was cut off by him reassuming his arrogant banter. Among other things, this owl's wings are scarcely stuffed enough to resemble a real owl's wings. Its beak is far too narrow, looking in exact size. And its eyes! What's with its eyes? They aren't even positioned right. The temple on his head looks like an apple, and the talons are cheap cardboard. Why, I can see it with my very own eyes. The back is slouching too. That's different signs of being understuffed. All in all, your owl receiving so much praise like this is unheard of. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this was some sort of conspiracy. Who? Me, that's who. The critic blinked. He then looked over at the fully awakened and highly insulted owl. Owlicious simply looked back at him, his expression blank, as heavily realized he'd completely mistaken a real owl for a stuffed one. He gasped, started backing away slowly. Finally, upon the third or fourth step, he jolted out of the still open front door looking rather silly. While Spike came down the stairs stretching from his rude awakening, Twilight closed the door. Who is that, Twi? The unicorn shook her head and said, You know, at times like this, I really wish we had a lock for this door. Who? Nice one. To be fair, Owlicious doesn't look quite like a normal owl, but I always put that to the fact that, you know, it's a cartoon. So, yeah. He thought the feet were cardboard? Wow. Just wow. Then again, critics always think they know everything. But who was talking about Owlicious as if he was a stuffed owl? That's just weird in itself. Anywho, that was The Owl Critic, written by Art Inspired. I hope you all enjoyed, and keep watching that moon, everyone.